Hello everyone, welcome back to ManGP. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but this is a very exciting thing that I have to post. This is Shenington in the UK, and this is a Club 100 sprint race. Recently I took a trip over to the UK for a couple weeks, did a bunch of karting, I'll see more videos on that hopefully soon, and a bunch of other fun racing stuff. And one of the coolest things I got to do while I was over there is participate in a Club 100 race weekend. So this is once again at Shenington. Club 100 was cool enough to let me come out and participate. I had to do a test the day before to make sure that I was not going to crash their karts immediately. And so what we're seeing now is the 3-minute warm-up before my first heat race. So this is a sprint race weekend for Club 100. That means that I will get 3 heat races to finish as well as I can, and once I get an average finish, I'll be either put into the A final, the B final, or the C final. Higher you finish, the better final you get to go into. I am also in the C3 class, which is the lowest of the 3, so like C1 is the championship contenders. If anybody's seen like Super GT videos, he's in C1. Guys like Anwar Burrell Smith is also in C1. Joe Holmes, all the fast guys are in there. C2 is more the intermediates, and then C3 is for the rookies, the new guys. So that was me for this weekend. I was a new guy. I was a newbie out here. So like I said, this is the 3-minute warm-up we get before the actual race, before the first heat. We only do a warm-up before the first heat we go out in. I believe I was the 4th heat. So 4th heat, there's 12 total. I was in the 4th, the 8th, and then the 12th heat. So kind of evenly spaced out. The way they did the C3 is that they were all starts from the back, but they were kind of mixed up. All the C3 started in the last 4 or 5 rows, and then we were kind of mixed up between ourselves. So this heat is, I believe, my quote-unquote front start. I started 13th. Once we get around to that, we'll see how that goes. But this is a cool track, great warm-up. I believe this is one of my last warm-up laps, so let's take a lap around Shenington in these awesome Club 100 karts. So come across the start-finish line. You have this left-hand curve here. I didn't need to lift too much. A little bit of braking into this right-hand hairpin, getting on the gas early, wanting to carry the speed out all the way to that white line if possible. Here's another little left-hand kink, pretty easy flat here in the dry, and then hard braking down into the first hairpin. Hard right-hand corner. You can use a little bit of that curb on the exit, not too much. These carts are pretty sensitive, and that's a pretty big curb. And then down here into the chicane, use a little bit of the curb on the right. Try to avoid the curb on the left. Maybe use a little bit on the right there on exit. You can kind of carry the momentum out to there. And then onto the back straightaway, another right-hand kink that's pretty easy flat into a really tricky, the last corner really on the track, that right-hand. Hard braking, a couple different lines you can take into there and take out. Then on the exit, another little left-hand kink, and boom, lap done. That is a lap around Shenington. I think lap times were around, probably wrong about this, but around 54 seconds or so. I think the fast guys were in the 53s and 52s or something like that. But yeah, so here we go. Now we're done with the warm-up. Once again, it's a way just to get used to the track, get used to how your kart's going to feel. Some guys, if they don't think the kart's not very good, they'll go in and get it swapped out. I'm just here for fun. And these are actually the same karts that, same chassis at least, that we drive at PGP, where I normally race out in Washington. Just obviously they're 2-stroke, 20 horsepower Rotax motors that are a lot quicker, but chassis felt familiar. But I wasn't really going to mess around with trying to suss out what kart was good or not. I was more just here to have fun, here to hang out, have fun, and get to race with some familiar names. So now we're gridded up. Once again, I think I started 13th in this race. I pulled up the results from the Alpha Live, but they're kind of being weird. They only showed my start place. But 13th place start, everybody gridded up. See the pace kart up front, slowing us all down, bunching us all back up, and away we go. As soon as it pulls off, once we get into these tram tracks, they called them here, and we're off. So, yep, had to stay in that line until, the inside line there until we crossed the start-finish line, no passing allowed, and here we go into the race, run around the outside, take the place from someone, lose one from someone diving on the inside of that corner. But yeah, just in this race, yeah, I was just trying to take it calm as I dive into the hairpin, getting a little bit of contact with that cart, and then, yeah, just kind of feel out, kind of not overdrive it too much, just kind of go where I can, race around these guys, give them as much respect. This is, I think, round 8 or 9 of their championship season, so it's pretty near the end. I don't want to come in there and like mess anybody's championship race up or anything like that. So trying to be as respectful and calm as possible. As man, these guys are absolutely going at it. See a yellow flag. So you see on the left hand side there, hand up was kind of green suit. That's Anwar Burrell Smith. If you guys watch any Super GT stuff, his name will probably be familiar. Looks like he had a chain or something come off and his cart died there on the first lap, which was a pretty big shame. He was actually my mentor, my buddy or whatever for the day. Club 100, they do a really cool thing where if they've got people who are out there for the first time, like myself, they'll pair you up with one of the championship front runners to give you kind of a lay of how the weekend goes and how the races go and everything. So that was super cool. Appreciate him helping me out. Shame to see him kind of die. His cart died there in the first heat. But as you see, more action happening around me. Some contact into the chicane there, which is not really a place to pass, causing someone to spin out. And then as we come down on the back straightaway, yellow flag's up still for Anwar in his cart. See on the side there, slow down, no passing, don't be reckless. Yeah, so back to the race as I try to make up some ground on these guys. The pace I felt like I had was pretty decent for the day overall. It's more just learning how to race around these guys and getting used to the carts and the specifics of them. As you see some more contact and another spin there in the hairpin. Try to go for a move here. Look for a move into the chicane. Think better of it. It's not really a passing opportunity. Better just to back out and not cause any more contact or spins. But yeah, one of the things that surprised me on these carts is how strong the brakes are. As you see these guys battling it out, the different lines you can take into that last hairpin there. Yeah, and just kind of getting used to those, just trying to play it safe. A lot of the times during these races, it's just kind of sitting behind someone, trying to follow someone behind who's fast, and then take advantage of moves that happen. As you saw on that last hairpin, the guy in the blue suit went in pretty deep, kind of overshot it, and was able to follow the guy in the gray suit back through. So here we go, just following behind some people, trying to pick up some tips, pick up some lines, and pick up some passing and attacking opportunities as I could. But yeah, so back to the format real quick. Probably should have mentioned it at the top, but the heat races are 7 minutes apiece, and then each of the finals, I believe, are 12 minutes. So not a lot of time in each race to make up or lose positions, but you still get a good amount of time racing overall. I think everybody does make it to a final. But yeah, here we go. A little bit more carnage or action in front of me as these two, the dark gray and the light gray suit, battle it out. Once again, just kind of following behind, waiting for an opportunity, trying not to cause too much of an incident. But I get a really good run out of this corner, and we're briefly 3 wide. I'm on the outside here once again, just kind of backing out, switching back over, trying to get alongside. Try to carry the momentum around the outside here, maybe try to get a crossover. Yeah, try to get a crossover move, carry that speed down the back straightaway. Try to get alongside, not really there, kind of back out, and then here's where my first mistake of the day comes in. There you go. Broke a little too hard, didn't want to run into the back of him. I kind of was off the gas there, trying to carry some speed into there, but, those two battling ahead of me broke a little bit earlier than I was expecting. I got a little too late in the corner, tapped him, and spun myself out, and kind of just rode there. Come across the line, I think I finished 14th. I was battling for 7th or 8th at that point when I spun. But yeah, going forward to the last lap here, I think that was about 2 laps later. After the spin, was just kind of driving all around. And as you can kind of hear a little bit, the camera audio for this was not great for most of the heats. The GoPro decided to rattle around in the holder that they have for these Club 100 carts. Not sure why. I think my mount was a little too small. But there you go. One last spot picked up as I'm chasing down a few guys trying to get back up there. Someone else spun in the same spot I did. It's a pretty common mistake. It looks like this is a deceptively tough track because it's a couple hairpins and a chicane, but it's really difficult to pass, and the curbs themselves are really tricky. But yeah, here we come across the line to finish my first ever heat in Club 100. Started 13th. I think I ended up finishing, that was like 11th or something like that after all the spins and everything like that. And alright, moving quickly into the second heat race. This was my middle start, quote unquote, for the C group. I think this was around 16th that I started in this race. I'd count the grid, but we're going here. So after that first mistake in the heat, obviously was a little bit frustrated with myself, but trying to just rein it back in and just go out there and have some fun. So here we go, just trying to take it easy, try not to overdrive. Once again, following some guys through who look like they're going pretty quick and kind of know how to make some passes. So a little bit wide into that corner, see the contact and the action and just the bumping, and 2-3 wide down the back straightaway into this chicane here is not going to work. So yeah, look at the contact. Someone goes spinning. I just try to go where people are not to avoid as much contact as possible. Went to the inside there to avoid the same mistake I made in the first race and lost a little bit of time off there, but the draft down the back straightaway helped out quite a bit. And then here is mistake number 2 for the day. Just a little bit too deep into the corner, locked up the brakes, tried to had the spin there, couldn't quite catch it. I probably could have if I'd taken the guy out that I made contact with, but once again, I'm only here for one race. I'd rather take myself out than someone else. So another unfortunate spin. This time it happened on lap 1. Not much to do. Now I'm back here battling for, I think it was 18th place with the guy who also got spun in the chicane. I was able to make pretty quick work of him, move back around, and yeah, we go down the inside of him into this hairpin. So now, you see the gap to the group in front. Lost that time. I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather have a spin at the first lap of a race or the last lap of near the end of the race. I don't know. I feel like at least if you spin out early, you get a little bit of time to try to recover and make up ground. As you see, we cut forward a couple laps. I am starting to make up ground on these two here. I think this was 2 or 3 laps later. They're kind of battling, slowing themselves down, and I'm just, solo riding, trying to put in as quick a lap time as I possibly can. Come across the line, about 2 minutes left, so about 3 laps. So once again, just trying to make up as much time as possible, or trying to make up as many positions. The better average position that I finish in, the more likely I am to get into, at this rate, like the B final or whatever. But I don't know. My goal was just to get through these races without too much carnage. But yeah, making up really good time on these guys as they're kind of, once again, distracted by each other. I don't know if they really see me coming up behind them. He kind of glances over and sees, oh, there's actually someone here now. So I just kind of break a little bit earlier, get back on the gas really soon through that chicane. That's kind of the real way you can overtake people, is coming out of that chicane. Just kind of brake early, get back on the gas sooner than them, and carry that momentum down the back straightaway into the kink, into this hairpin here. And just kind of wait for people to make a little bit of a mistake. So you see that guy ahead did. He kind of got on the curb, lost a little momentum, opens up the inside, and through I go into what I believe is 16th, somewhere around there. So back where I started. Not too terrible. And as you see, there's just a couple more people up ahead, but mostly a straightaway ahead. Probably not going to catch them unless, they get fighting really tough, really hard, and I'm able to make up a huge amount of ground. But yeah, look at that. I already gained a good amount of ground on them just through that one corner because of them being side by side. So go through here. Once again, going through that little chicane. Deceptively tough. You can carry a lot of speed through there, but getting the actual turn-in angle right and not hitting any of those curbs, which are pretty tall, especially in these carts, they can upset the cart quite a bit. And getting to turn in the fronts of these carts a little bit narrower than the rear, so pretty easy to think you've made the corner pretty well, just skirting the curb, but then your rear end, one of your rear tires hits a curb and upsets the cart and slows you way down. But here we go, on to the last lap of, this is This is my second heat. This is the 8th overall. Making a decent grind on these two as they start to fight. Let's see if we can make up 2 more positions here on the last lap of this final, or the last lap of this heat race, I should say, my second heat. Clipping the curb a little bit there on the entry. You can kind of use that curb. I've seen some people using it, some people not, but I was kind of using that curb just to open up the corner just a little bit more if possible. But not enough time to catch up to these two, even despite their hard fighting. I was able to make up quite a bit of ground on them, but not enough to make any sort of challenge or run. And that is the end of heat number 2. I came across the line 15th, 16th, somewhere around there. And now into heat 3. And you can actually hear there's some better audio in this one. For some reason, the GoPro decided to not rattle around in the cart this time, which was good. And another thing you can see, another new element into this race, you can see a little bit on the lens, is some rain. It started to sprinkle just a little bit. You can kind of see the sky's been pretty overcast the entire time we've been racing here, but this was the first heat race, and this was the first heat race that really started to rain at all. This was the 12th heat, so this was the final heat before we got into the finals. But this was my back start, so I started 18th, dead last on the field. And this one was still pretty dry. It had just started to sprinkle, and not enough to get the circuit actually wet, so everybody for the most part still taking the dry lines, still able to push about as hard, but as you'll see as we go throughout this race, that does not last. It does get progressively wetter as this one goes on. So down the inside, another lockup. You can kind of hear the cart stall out as that guy in the blue suit tries to go down the inside of the chicane, able to just hold the line, go around the outside of him, take that spot back, and try to follow these guys through down into the hairpin. Hopefully not making the same mistake I did in the second heat. Nope, looking good, staying really wide, trying to get as good of a run out of that corner as possible. You can take a bunch of different lines through there, but it kind of, on the exit, it narrows up really quick, and if you're on the left-hand side, you can get pinched onto that curb really easy like I just did there, and you see I had to back out quite a bit in order to not get shoved right into the grass. So, pretty tricky through there, but not really worrying too much. A little frustrated at myself after spinning the first 2 heats. I feel like I wasn't really showing what I could do, and my goal, talked to Anwar a little bit after that second heat, and he gave me some advice of just, hey, go out there and just, calm down, just focus on staying on the track and, just doing what you can, not pushing too hard, not getting over, getting in over your head, just kind of taking it nice and easy. So that was my goal for this race. Stay on track, no spins, see what happens, especially with the rain threatening the whole time. There you see another instance. Going on the outside, you can carry more momentum on the exit, but if the cart ahead of you, takes too much to the left, you've got no room. You've got to back out and lose a bunch of time that way. So more rain on the lens. Still, everybody taking the dry line. Hasn't affected us yet. It will here in the next couple laps or so. Here we go. Nice move down the inside. Get a good run out of the first corner. Throw it down the inside, and boom, job done. Position gain. I think that's 16th now from my 18th place start. Like I said, I feel like I had pretty decent pace for the C3s, which is most of the guys that I'm battling. Felt like it was, pretty good competition all around. It was cool racing with some slower guys, some faster guys, and just a really big mix of people, because they would kind of mix up whoever you're racing with in each of the heats, so it was really cool to race around. Just a bunch of different kinds of people. And here we go, starting the 3rd lap, and we go down into turn number 2. I think this one's called Club or Paddock. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to learn too many of the names of these corners, but I think each of them did have a name. But see, my pace is pretty good. I was able to catch back up to the back of the field, especially once they started battling. It's so easy to lose momentum in these karts if you're not taking the optimal line. You can see there, got a bad exit, had to lift, got just absolutely walked down the straight, and those guys took off. But if you're not really fighting anybody, if you're not right up behind somebody, pretty easy to gain that time back. So all about being patient, all about being smart, trying to not get involved in anything too crazy. You see, move around the outside for the driver on the left-hand side. Here, I finally actually take the wide line, get a good exit out of the corner, not pinched, able to overtake not one, but two guys, two drivers on the exit of that corner. And carry that momentum. That's, kind of what I was trying to do, especially once I knew the rain started to fall, and so you can kind of see the grip go away there and you drift out wide. Is to try to take those wider lines and keep momentum up as much as possible and just kind of go wherever people are. And you can see still everybody taking the dry line. Grip was falling a little bit. Rain was kind of coming from behind where we're going now, so that hairpin is the first spot that really get wet during this race. But for the most part, still dry. There we go. Gaining the momentum out of the chicane, getting into the draft. Everybody tucking in the slipstream, trying to reduce drag as much as possible. Don't know how much that helps, but it always makes you feel like you're going faster, doesn't it? So here we go. Another crossover, wide entry, late exit out of that corner, carry the momentum, cross the guy over, going down the start-finish straight, and inside on turn 1, and boom, another position up. So making good progress after starting dead last in this race. This was by far the best race I had the entire day I was out there racing this one. The changing conditions and kind of being last in the line. You can see people still going a little bit slower into that corner now as the rain starts to pick up. Being kind of far back in the line actually helps quite a bit when conditions start to change like that, because you can tell pretty easily where the grip is and where it's not as you're following behind people. But on the back straightaway, the second part of the back straightaway, once again, tucked in the slipstream behind, guy in the black suit. Again, taking that really wide entry into that corner, trying to carry as much momentum, get back on the throttle as soon as possible, make up that ground on the exit of the corner. You see, carry that speed out of the exit, inside, go to the inside once again, and boom, another job done into turn 1, another pass made. As some more passing goes on up ahead, a few more carts battling, gaining and losing momentum. I believe this is the lap where it really starts to get noticeable where it's wet. You can kind of see everybody fanning out, trying to break offline going into this hairpin. Everybody's slowing way down, keeping the outside line, and managed to pass, I believe someone there on the right-hand side coming out of that corner, taking that outside, that wet line, and catch right back up to the pack, who is, once again, everybody's starting to struggle pretty mightily as the rain starts to fall, because it goes in patches. It doesn't get all wet immediately. It kind of, some spots will get wet way before others, and it's just a matter of trusting the cart where to find the grip at. But here we go, another example. My favorite move of the day. Take that wide entry into the corner, cut back on someone who got a bad exit, and they managed to get to the left of them, pass them on the inside of turn 1, and boom, another one on the exit of turn 1, and holding the speed on the outside of that second corner, and another pass there. I think that was three carts in the series of a corner. It was a great move there. I was pretty pumped by that. I was definitely pumping myself up after I saw that. After I made that move, I was definitely going, heck yeah, in my helmet, because I thought that was one of my better moves of the day, being able to get around those 3 pretty quickly. But here we go. Caught back up to the leader. I actually can see the leader, unlike my previous heats. So still staying pretty close with the group. Pace felt pretty good. But yeah, I believe we're coming to the white flag now. Yeah, I believe this is the last lap that we have, but you can see, actually, no, this is the checkered flag, so that was the last lap. So yeah, it was white flag. I was able to make a triple overtake into the first couple corners, and felt really good after that heat race. That was easily my best drive of the day, and I felt like I was, getting better as the day went on. So now we move into the B final. After, I believe that last race was a P8, so from 18th to 8th in that heat, 10 spots up in 7 minutes was pretty good. That raised my average finish up enough, just enough to get into the B final, which, on debut in the Club 100, when I was talking around people, they said that was pretty impressive. But now, much wetter, and carnage ensues on the first corner of the first lap, of course. Someone getting spun around there. Somehow only one kart got taken out. I think that guy spun from like P6 or 7, and testament to the skill, everybody. No one else got collected in that. A little bit of bumping and stuff like that as we try to navigate around it, but no one else getting spun out there. But now that it's fully wet, you can see everybody taking a bunch of different lines, and oh, there goes another person getting spun out. People trying to take the inside, still finding the grip, trying to figure out where it's at, where you can actually put the cart. That caused a lot of issues in this race, especially into those hairpins, because people can send it on the inside. They have good grip going into the corner because they're braking offline, but then they just can't get the cart rotated, and they are really slow coming out of the corner. So here we go, making up some places. Again, kind of continuing the theme from that last race. The nice thing about having been in the last heat right before this one is more familiarity with the track. There was a C final that took place just before this, and I believe the way it works is 2 or 3 people from the C final transfer up to the B. So besides those 2 or 3 folks, I was probably people from that group, that Heat 12, the group that I was in just before, most familiar with the conditions. But I mean, as you can see, they changed pretty rapidly and have deteriorated pretty badly. Yeah, you can't even touch the inside of that corner there. And as I say that, I get overtaken. I believe there's some contact there. There's another example of what I was talking about. Someone sensing it on the inside, using whoever's there on the outside for brakes a little bit because of just how underestimating how wet it is on the inside, and contact and loss of momentum coming off that corner is killer, especially in these conditions. It's really important to keep that momentum up, and driving in the wet, not my strong suit. I kind of know how to do it. I kind of know it in theory, but actually doing it in practice is tricky. And there you see another example of that, someone diving in really late, going on the inside. It was a good overtake, but I definitely did not see that one coming when I was in there. I was lucky I was taking that outside liner. I might have gotten tagged. But yeah, here we go, having to take these wet lines, trying to fall around behind these guys. I'm pretty sure there's like 26 or 28 people that ended up being in this B final. I think there was something like 60 or 70 folks here total throughout the day, so it was quite a few people. And I started in the back. I think I started 24th or 25th in this race. So, you can see, not really given the space on the outside of that corner, going down the first part of the back straightaway. And I kind of stick with this group for most of the next few laps. It is pretty, yeah, you see this guy's tapping like, hey, come work with me, as I was trying to overtake. But yeah, I was stuck with this group for most of the next couple laps. It was really tricky to overtake, especially when like 2 or 3 guys are battling next to each other. You can see there, the guy in the white suit takes the wide line, loses the spot initially, but carries that momentum down the front straight, takes it back. We were kind of bottled up behind him a little bit. He would definitely go slower into the corners, but he was getting good runs out of the corners. So it was hard to really, easy to catch up with him, but hard to really get around him because he was taking smart lines coming out of those corners and maintaining that position. But here we go, 3 wide down into the hairpin. As he's just trying to figure out where the braking points are, and getting just absolutely swarmed left, one right. Being indecisive into that corner, not really knowing where to brake, not really knowing where to go. You can see how that little bit of hesitation can cost you quite a bit of time and positions too. But that's how it goes sometimes, especially in this rain. With these guys are, I mean, UK karters, probably much more adept to racing in these kind of wet conditions than I am, even though it rains a good amount in Washington. Usually it's pretty limited to one part of the year. Summers, especially when I just came at him, was used to, was dry. I hadn't raced in the wet in a while. But yeah, there you go. Another example of taking a bad line, getting kind of pinched there on the exit of that corner, having to lift, and then losing just a bunch of time because of that. But like I said, pace felt pretty good. I was able to catch back up to these guys. It was just a matter of racecraft in the rain and on this track where it's tricky to overtake normally in the dry, and then in the wet it gets even crazier when you're just trying to learn the track. There you see I brake a little too late into that corner, kind of also braking on the dry line as well, which isn't usually the best. and kind of overran it, bumped into the back of that guy in front of me, carried a little too much speed in there, and yeah, just trying a few different lines. I could see that I can catch back up to these guys, so I was just trying a few different lines through there to see, you know, if anything could work to try to make a move on people sometime later in the race, but not really doing. Lost a bunch of time, and whoo, man, that guy. that's the kind of stuff I was worried about and dealing with, especially into that first hairpin, is moves like that being sent, and luckily no contact being made there. I think that guy was able to stay on track too, but into that first hairpin, that first right-hand hairpin, moves like that would happen pretty frequently, where can't quite see him on camera, but someone would dive in, make contact, and slow me down mid corner off to the exit. But here we go, caught back up to these, and then here it comes. Yep. No, it's not this lap. It's a later lap. I have a little bit of an accident, but still kind of making the same mistake, braking on the dry line, braking a little bit too late, getting into the back of that cart and not getting a good run, not doing the smart thing of slow in, fast out, trying to carry a little too much speed into those corners to try to make a move on those guys, but I don't really know where I was going there. I was braking into the back of that cart, and I don't really know I'd be able to pass. But yep, you see a couple of these guys making their way through. Like I said, the cart in the white suit, the guy in the white suit, number 66 there, was a little bit of a cork in the bottle for 3 or 4 guys there for a few laps. As he was, like I said, kind of taking those outside lines. They're quick for like carrying momentum, but if you take those outside lines and you brake too early, then even in the wet, someone can dive up the inside of you and make a move stick. As he here is finally able to get around him, and then here is where the mistake comes. I still am braking on the dry line, not good. Hit a bit of a bump there. There's a little bit of a bump on the entry to that corner, and it was just enough for me to lock up my tires and go into a full spin. So lost quite a bit of time. I think I lost like 5 or 6 seconds, but a lot of positions, and now back toward the back of the field. And that was a little bit frustrating, but I feel like I said, I could catch back up to these guys. I had decent pace. It was just the racing and the racecraft itself. But add one more spin to the tally, 3 for the day. I don't blame it so much in the wet, but in the dry it was a little embarrassing. But in the wet, it happens. These are really tricky conditions, and again, these brakes on these karts are surprisingly strong. So here we go. I think this is about just a few minutes left. I think 3 or 4 minutes left in this race. Our pace only fell off about 4 or 5 seconds per lap once the rain came. Definitely slower, but not like 10, 15 seconds off. Just when you're running out there by yourself, you're not really battling anybody. But here we go, catching back up to this group. Still trying to figure out the line through that corner. I think that was especially in this final, the line through that corner, being able to carry speed in and momentum off I was having a really hard time doing that. And especially, like I said, it's hard to do it when you're out there in the first place. It's even harder to do it when you're also trying to battle people and trying to put your cart in spots. I kind of back out there. I didn't want to take the inside of that line and slide out into him, so I lifted and let him go. But yeah, it's tricky, and then it gets, the conditions get even trickier as you begin racing and battling people. But you can see, still catching back up to that group. I think there's 5 or 6 karts got around me. They're all right there in front of me. So I feel like I can try to catch back up to him, see if I can make any more moves. You can see, get a run on this guy. Kind of also brake to the outside. He brakes in a little bit late. Goes way wide. I'm going to try to get the over-under on him. And I do, but he carries that momentum off the corner, and I'm just going to fall back in line behind him. Try not to fight too much. Don't want to get us caught up in our own battle and lose too much time to that group in front. So just kind of follow him through. See if I can carry the momentum, either give him a bump or make that move stick like I tried the lap before. Not quite. Backed out of it again. A little bit of contact there. Not really what I wanted to do, but didn't cost us too much. We actually caught back up to that group faster than I anticipated. So back onto the front straightaway, which is basically just one long curb. Trying to go down the inside. Look, like, there was some grip on the inside. You could see him carry some more speed, but kind of slide on the exit. It was weird conditions. It felt like it was, you once the tires got warm, you had decent grip to be able to throw it on the inside of some of these faster corners since they're not too tight and make it work for the most part. But as you're going to see here, mistake number 4 for the day. Do the same thing I did a couple laps before. Just too late on the brakes. I got a little too excited. I was gaining quite a bit of ground on that group ahead, and I was trying to make a double overtake there. But yeah, you see what happens. Get a little too excited. Get a little too in over your head, especially in conditions I'm not super familiar or super comfortable with, and boom, spin number 4 for the day. And right near the end of it too, so no real time to make up any ground or anything like that, but enough time to drive by myself in the rain and kind of reflect on and enjoy the Club 100 experience that I had, which if anybody is planning to take a trip to the UK and they're a big karting fan, I would highly recommend trying to line up and see if you can go do a race. Their calendar's online. They're everybody super friendly, super helpful, very welcoming to a Yank coming in onto their turf and racing it up with them. But yeah, I had a really wonderful time, and I think overall I finished this race in 25th or 23rd, somewhere around there, about where I started. I think there's 25 or 26 karts in this race anyway. So not great in the race itself, but overall, making it to the B final, like I said, on debut was really cool. Kind of didn't realize that at the time how pretty good accomplishment that was. And for the C3 class, I think I finished 5th overall. I think there was 4 other C3 runners that were in this final with me, and I mean they all finished ahead because I think I was last in this group, but yeah, finished 5th overall in the C group when there was something around 25 or 30 in that group. I'll take that. That was a good little race there for me. Good little race day for me. And here we are on the final lap of my Club 100 experience at Shenington. Overall, I can't, maybe it was frustrated in the moment for all the spins and things like that, but kind of reflecting back on it, it was such a wonderful time. I cannot express how fun it was to drive these karts, how great the track was. Like, for kind of look at this track on paper, it looks pretty simple, but it is really fun to drive. A really wonderful track, and I'm glad I got to experience it while I was out here. And coming to the end of this, I've got a few more recordings from some other races I did at various different tracks. I think I hit up like six tracks while I was in the UK and did some karting. So I've got a few more that I'm going to edit and upload and everything here, and get more of those out. Buckmore. I didn't quite get to Wilton Mill, but a couple Daytona tracks as I come across the line. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and look out for more content coming soon.